Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Sidekicked, a Marvel Champions podcast, where we are all about the allies in the game. We'll teach you who the allies are in the comics, discuss their card, and what kind of decks they might be played in. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Levi Lewis, and today with me I have
Jason Sketch. Hello. How you doing, Levi?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
All right, all right, all right.
All
Doing
right,
pretty
all
good.
right, all right.
It's the middle of summer, and I work in summer camp, so tired. Dealing with just kids, getting all the things that teachers get to deal with during the school year, I get to do during the summer. So it's a good time, though. Happy to have all them kids here at camp.
Yeah, I've been busy too. I work in retail, and my store is about to have their inventory. We're about to inventory the entire store.
Oof.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
So,
lot.
oh, it is a lot. Do I do any of it? No, I actually don't do any of the retail. I just do all of the prepping.
So you don't have to do any of the inventory then. You just get
Yeah, I
to.
don't. Yeah, I don't actually count anything, which is kind of funny. During the inventory, they just yell at me. They just yell at me the entire time that they're getting ready for it.
It's coming. Oh, good. Thanks for informing me.
Thanks for informing me that I'm not going to do anything that day.
Nothing special for Levi Lewis.
That's right. So Jason, what you been playing lately?
A little bit of everything. So I just finished up my Hawkeye playthrough of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. In fact, the last episode just released the other day and discovered that I misplayed one card. But that's not too bad overall. I think it was a win. I think I ended up playing decently well. It was just a bad draw from the encounter deck. And so that's not too bad. Knowing that it was just one bad draw from the encounter deck that I misread the card was not too bad. And literally it's just the title at the text at the top of Insight 1. But even then, I feel like I still beat Zemo with Hawkeye. And I'm going to count it as a win. I'm going to move on with my life. Hawkeye's been a blast. I really enjoyed him. Everybody keeps telling me how bad he is. And I am leaning more towards saying he's actually a lot of fun. A really good character. And I look forward to trying him in some different aspects in the future. Besides that, I've been testing and playing around a little bit with Cindy Moon, or Silk. Got her recently, and currently in my hand I have a deck for aggression that I'm working on, trying to focus mostly on using weapon upgrades. I want to have her punch for like 12. So I'm trying to build a deck that centers around that and using web warriors to take care of her. We'll see if I can get something put together. Last night I faced her against Crossbones twice and did not win.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've played a solo game and I uploaded it and it's like, oh, there's this one card that you misread. I'm like, I'm okay with I'm okay with that. So I'm okay with that too, that you
Right.
had that happen.
Well, I
It
think
happens a lot.
with that in mind, right, like a lot of content creators, and I'm not calling anybody out and I'm not saying anything bad, I think the worry becomes if I misplay a card, I'm misrepresenting the game.
Right.
And I feel like I'm on the other end of that spectrum, where if I misplay a card, you learn something from me.
The way I see it is there's so much to the cards. Sometimes it just depends on your interpretation.
That's exactly it, yeah. Your
Because
interpretation, sometimes it's, you get those force interrupts and the hero interrupts and an interrupt all at the same time. Knowing
oh
those
yeah,
orders is going to be ridiculous.
and sometimes
And then,
it can be a little confusing. Yeah.
so, just taking it one card at a time. And at the end of the day, just enjoy your game. I think that's
Yeah.
what it comes down to.
The game is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be. It has to be so super strict. You have to. I mean, I know. I think it's my first video that I uploaded. I think the Deadpool video. I'm pretty sure that's my first one. I was playing Juggernaut, and yeah, like in the game, I even say it. I'm like, look, I'm gonna keep playing even though I technically lost because that's how I want to play this one game. But it's just that was just how I wanted to play that game. It's just
That's exactly it. It's not like Tony Fauci and his posse are going to come in and beat your door down because you played their card game wrong.
Yeah.
And if they do, well, great. Have your cards out for them to sign. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, because I did that in that video, Fantasy Flight now will not hire me, and I'm super disappointed.
oh, wow. From one
Yeah.
misplay.
From one misplay. That's right. So the last time I played was with you, Jason. That game that we played,
Oh.
where we played against Thanos, and while I was away from the table, it was decided that we were going to play an expert. And Thanos is pretty hard in regular, but then it was decided without me that we were going to play an expert of all the games. Going to play that
is
one
not
an
true.
expert.
We
Was that
talked
your?
about it the Tuesday before, and I said, hey, let's play Thanos. You said, great. And I said, hey, let's play an expert. And you said, great. And then we jumped into Bible
But
study.
I wasn't there when I was there. I was in the bathroom because I wasn't the only one that was there. If I had been right there at that moment, I would have been like, can we not do this one an expert? But then we did it an expert,
okay.
which was fine. And I will say, this is what I will say, is one of the biggest mistakes that we made, because there was 4 of us, so we were playing, all 4 of us were playing. The mistake that we had made was I was playing an Adam Warlock, which Adam Warlock is good at doing several different things, but Adam Warlock was not doing the one thing that we needed, which was we needed threat removal. And if I'd have known that, I would have played a different deck. I would have done just a Justice deck, and that was just a mistake. Like, there was a couple of just miscommunications as soon as we started. We were just excited to play, and so we did not win that. We didn't even get to, if I remember right, I think we barely did we? No, we didn't even flip him, did we? We didn't even flip him to side 3, did we?
I think we got him to his second stage, and he just stomped us at that point.
Yeah, like it was
rough.
It was pretty bad.
I mean,
it was pretty bad.
So, listeners, here's what we had. We had Dr. Science was playing his go-to Stunlock Captain
Protection.
America.
Yeah, in protection, yeah.
Against a stalwart Thanos. We offered him 3 or 4 other decks. He still chose to try to play Stunlock.
Which is fine. Yeah, I mean,
It's fine. He had a good time with it.
At least he knows what he likes.
Then we had, I think you were playing the Precon. Adam
Yeah, I
Warlock.
was playing the Precon Adam Warlock, which was still pretty good. Like, I had never played it, and I wanted to play it. He was actually doing pretty good. If I was playing solo, I probably would have whipped him.
Yeah, I think, but not too bad. We had your really good Wolverine aggression deck, but a new player was running it.
Well, I also think that was not the best type of deck for that scenario. Yeah.
Possibly.
And then you were also playing in protection. Who were you?
I was running a modified precon of Silk in protection, but the focus was not on stunning or anything like that. It was more focused on trying to get your web warriors out, trying to get them to cycle through, and using some of them to help protect. And it was doing okay.
Yeah, that's that's kind of her thing.
Yes, it was more like taking cards. But mostly, I was just trying to figure out how do I get cards from the encounter deck and put it behind her.
Right, and that's her thing.
So, I mean, it was working pretty well. It had its ups and downs.
But all in all, we had fun, and then we lost that game. I wouldn't say terribly, but not that great. It was fun to play. It was not the first time I had played Expert, but the first time I played Expert against the Rhino.
Yeah.
So I knew how Expert was, and I did win the Expert game that I played, but it was because I was playing a lesser one. So I would say, here's some advice for you listeners out there. If you're going to try Expert, don't try something like a really hard scenario in Expert your first time playing it. Try something a little simpler.
That's fair.
And then we played. Who did we play? We played a second game. Who did we play in our second game? I don't remember who we against. What scenario?
We played the Hood, and we used the Hood's
That's right.
starter, like encounter sets and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
And so,
Right. Yeah, we played the Hood, and that one I did change to my Magneto Justice deck that I thoroughly enjoy. Dr. Science didn't change his deck, so I was like, well, I guess I'll just do this. I don't remember who you played in that one because I know you changed decks too.
Yeah, I ran an aggression bishop that focused on just getting Bishop's gun out and doing as much stupid damage as I could, and I had a blast actually.
That's right, and I forgot to bring you'd asked me to bring a couple of cards, and I had forgotten to do that. Which I was like, dang
Yes,
it.
yeah, I had also brought a float like a butterfly War Machine deck, and I had asked to borrow a couple of Sonic
A
rifles
couple of Sonic, yeah, a couple of
for that,
rifles.
and so I didn't get a chance to play that one yet.
But that one was a little. It was still. We did play that. We did not play that one in expert, but we did beat that one, which was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was.
I bet we could have won an expert with the three of us. Our other friend left after losing pretty bad to Thanos.
He said, "You guys stink."
I think he just had to get food.
No, that's he didn't like us. But yeah, that's all I've been doing. Is that I've been doing a lot of other stuff outside of the game.
I
And
think
that's why I haven't. Yeah.
overall, I mean, there's nothing. And then here's a question to ask you, right? Because this is something that I've kind of noticing a little bit more as I'm reading more on the Discord, and a little bit of a trend that I haven't experienced myself yet. I have found a hero or two that I really enjoy playing, but I have not found like this is my deck, and I sit with this deck, and this is a deck that I will always play and always have with me. But yet I've found that I've heard different folks be like, yep, I've built 2 or 3 different decks, and those are the 2 or 3 different decks that I run. I'll buy the new sets when they come out, I'll try the new character for a bit, but I tend to go back to these 2 or 3 different decks. And I've noticed that with Dr. Science, who's like, I found a deck I like, and I'm satisfied, and he just keeps playing that same deck. What about you? Do you enjoy having 1 or 2 decks that are just like, this is it, this is all I'm ever going to play? Or do you prefer to just try out new stuff? Because I'm still jumping around quite a bit on my end, and I've been doing this for about a year and a half now.
So I like to jump around. I do have some characters that I do prefer. Like I do prefer Magneto. I think Magneto right now is my favorite. But there's several that I just haven't played yet that I know that I want to. Like I still have not, even though I have Doctor Strange, I have never played him. I really want to play him because he's supposed to be super cool. But there's several others that I have not. I have not played Bishop. I want to play Bishop. I haven't played Bishop yet. So there's several that I just haven't gotten to yet. But I like, so far, there hasn't been one that I've just been like, I do not like this.
Well, it's not just an exact character. Like, you've like, cool, I have built a float like a butterfly War Machine deck. And that one is always built. It doesn't get put back away. And it just stays. And I have it ready to go all the time.
No, I don't do that. I always like to put all my stuff up. Maybe not immediately, maybe not like exactly that week, but I always put my stuff up because typically the cards that I have in those decks I like to use in other decks because I like making decks. So if I have it always put together, what I find myself doing, because I have tried to do that before, but I'll find myself like, oh wait, no, I need to take this card and this card and this card out to put it in this other deck. Not all of the cards, but just some of the cards. So then I'm like, well, what's the point of even keeping this deck together? I need to just go ahead and just not.
That makes sense. I don't think there's anything wrong with having decks that you just like constantly have built. Like, I'm thinking about
Yeah, I don't either.
keeping a couple on. I did for a long time when I first started playing. I'd make two when I built the deck. I immediately put it into Marvel CDB so I could keep track of it later. And I started realizing that I'm not gonna keep it this way. I know I'm gonna modify it 6 more times, so I'm just gonna wait till I have all the cards and I'm satisfied with that deck, and then I'll put it in Marvel CDB for later. But even then, I still don't keep them put together in my box. I think I still got like the War Machine deck that I built put together, but even then I've already stolen cards from it. And so I just got to put it away at this point. So I can get those sonic rifles and test out that deck. Now I don't have sleeved, all my cards aren't sleeved yet, so I do sleeve my cards up every time when I play. And so, like, but I've discovered now that I'll keep certain cards always sleeved. Like Gambit and Professor X generally just stay sleeved.
Are you saying that you unsleeve your cards sometimes?
I unsleeve for sure, my hero cards. I unsleeve those quite a bit. All my villains, all my encounter set cards are sleeved. But my hero cards are not. I have to re-sleeve them every time.
I don't know exactly. I think by the time this podcast comes out, I think this will have already been out. But while we're recording this, it has not happened yet. So the Fantastic Four movie that's coming up.
Yes.
What do you think, just from the trailers and everything, what do you think is going to happen in that movie?
What do I think is going to happen in that movie?
Yeah.
You want me to give a assumption of the plot for Fantastic Four?
Yeah, like what do you... Because I actually have an idea of what might happen. Cute. We'll see.
I think we're going to do like the Spider-Man movie, and we're going to skip their origin entirely. And they're already going to be Fantastic Four. We're going to get kind of reintroduced to this version of the Fantastic Four. Just kind of the general, like, what the world they're living in, to an introduction to who they are at the point in time in which Sue Storm is pregnant. We've kind of known that in the trailers. And then we're going to kind of just... They're going to be some sort of big celebration, I think, will be the first part of the movie from the people of Earth. Celebrating the Fantastic Four and all their exploits. We're going to get flavors of Doctor Doom here and there, of how they defeated him, to maybe some of their other past villains that they've faced that are Fantastic Four specific. We might get a like small flavor of the Mole Man. We would then jump into Sue announcing to the rest of the team she's pregnant, and the team being super excited about that, and kind of just the 9 months of them preparing for the baby to come. And towards the tail end of that, we'll start dealing with the wonderful Galactus and Silver Surfer coming in and saying, "You're about to die," and they're going to start having to fight the Silver Surfer, the battle of Silver Surfer, and then they're going to start preparing to go into space to fight Galactus. They're unable to stop Galactus before coming down, and because Sue starts having the baby, and so Sue has her baby, and then Galactus will land, and they'll all go out and fight Galactus and defeat him, which then somehow leads them to going into space and then flying into the next universe.
I mean, that's fair. Because we do, spoiler alert, we do, if you haven't seen
New
the Thunderbolts, the Thunderbolts / New Avengers movie, don't listen to the next couple of minutes. But we do see in, spoiler, we do see at the end of that movie that, yes, they are coming into the universe that all the other movies have been in so
MCU,
far.
I think it's 6160.
Is it?
Or
yeah,
0616. Like,
but the universe that we have been typically seeing, they're coming into that, and that's just, you just see the ship. You see the ship that says that has the 4. Yeah. I can't remember what the old Sorcerer Supreme called it, but yes.
Sacred Timeline.
Sacred Timeline, yes. So this is what I think, and I'm probably wrong when I say this, but I think it would be kind of cool if how they did it is they're in that universe, and yeah, like it kind of like briefly shows how they become the Fantastic Four. and kind of shows like a couple of people that they fight, and yet, and because it shows in the trailer like they're like the people are like, yeah, you're our protectors and all this stuff, but then some for some reason, like it shows in the trailer, like they're like, we're gonna protect you or whatever, and so they go into space for something else, not Galactus, not Silver Surfer's girlfriend, not any of that stuff, but they go into space for something completely different. And while they're dealing with that, whatever that other different thing is, they have something going on, and it sends them into the sacred timeline. And then they fight Galactus and the Silver Surfer and all that, those people in the new, in like the typical timeline, which I think that's just how I would like think it would be kind of neat if they did it that way.
That would be awesome.
But again, I'm probably wrong. They're probably going to have everything in the universe that they're in, and then kind of like how Thunderbolts showed it at the very end, it'll probably be like another nod at the very end, like, oh no, this strange entity has magically sent us into this other universe, and we just all four happen to be on this ship because we're fantastic.
I think that's the possibility there. Here's a question for you.
No.
And I've kind of got two different tangents here. The first one is, it's interesting, and I think they've done it since the Edward Norton Hulk. But if we already know the origin of a hero, we've seen the movie several times, they've had their own TV shows, have you noticed that they don't really dive into hero origins? So, for example, Hulk, Spider-Man, well, we've seen it twice before Tom Holland's came out. We just kind of know that it happened. And now here again with the Fantastic Four, we've seen those movies several times. We know how they get their powers.
Yeah, I think the last one that did that was the amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. That was probably like the last time you saw a hero that you already knew all of this stuff about. But still, that was Sony. That wasn't. That was a different,
so
completely
the
different.
MCU.
Yeah.
You don't really, if we already knew the hero like the Hulk and Spider-Man, we didn't really get origins. It just kind of, here we are.
Right. Yeah, here we are. Which at that point, it doesn't really matter that much about the origins because of, you already know it. Like it's been put out there several times. So you know what happens.
How have you been feeling recently about the MCU?
I like seeing the heroes. I will say the Fantastic Four just because there's been two times, actually technically three. There's been three times already that production companies have tried to make Fantastic Four movies, and they've all done not that great. I know the first one was in the 90s. I think it was like 1990 when the first one came out. It was so bad that they didn't even fully release the movie. They didn't finish editing it, and even release it. There's like, you can find bootleg copies of it. I think you can find it on YouTube. The stuff that they shot was cool. If they had fully finished the movie, it probably would have been a cool movie, specifically for when it came out. I've seen some of the stuff, and it was actually kind of neat. But they just didn't finish it. And so like the finished product that's out there, it doesn't look all that great. And then, yeah, and then I think it was 2004 when Jessica Alba and those movies, the first one I thought was terrible. I thought the first one was, yeah, I see your reaction. I did not like the first one because the whole movie, and to be fair, I was like 13, 14, something like that when the movie came out. And I was like, okay, this whole movie is just storyline. Like there's nothing really happening other than we're getting our powers. And it is an origin story, yeah. But we're getting our powers. And then at the very, very end, they fight Doctor Doom, and it wasn't much of a battle.
That's fair.
And then they came out with the second one, and the second one, I thought Rise of the Silver Surfer was freaking awesome. I thought everything they did, everything they talked about, I thought it was a much better movie. But I fully believe that they didn't make any more after that because the first one didn't do all that great. So a lot of people didn't really, this is just my opinion. I didn't think the first one was all that great. So a lot of people didn't really like the first one. So when the second one came out, not that many people went to go see the second one.
So I usually hear the opposite. I usually hear people are super stoked about the first one, and the second one they don't like as much. I liked them both, if I'm honest. But I'm always optimistic when it comes to superhero movies, especially Marvel. So that's just how I lean.
Yeah, and then they tried to make it again. I don't even remember, like 2010, something like that. I don't remember. I don't even remember
Okay.
when was that one?
That one was not 2010. It was in 20 in the 2015, 2016, 2017 era. Here's why.
But I know that there was a bunch of like rewrites and reshoots, and there's just a lot of like stuff that happened during the making of that movie.
Well,
And
they rushed
so
it, and here's why
yeah,
they
they
rushed it.
rushed it. Yeah.
Because they didn't want to lose the movie rights to it, and MCU was like, "Cool, hey, we're getting our rights back in like a year, unless you don't make another movie." And the MCU should have kept their mouth shut about it, and they would have gotten the movies back. But they went, "Oh crap, we're losing access to these characters, so we'll make a quick movie." They did that, and this was Fox. They
And it
did
was
that, and they did it
crap.
for New Mutants. They were doing the same thing. They were rushing New Mutants just for the purpose of keeping X-Men and Fantastic Four characters, and that's why in the comics at the time you were seeing a lot more Inhumans being pushed, and
And it was
the Fantastic Four and the X-Men were slowly being not phased out, but just had less comics going out at the time. There was less
They
and
were
less emphasis on
terrible.
their characters.
Yeah, both of those movies were terrible.
They were bad. They were so
Terrible.
bad. But they did it. They rushed the job and the intention of trying to keep those characters, and that's why within a year of the I think within like 2 months of that Fantastic Four movie coming out, Disney went, all right, we're just buying Fox, and that's why we now have access to all those characters, and they've waited several years, a long time before putting them back out into the world. TMI, I guess, but I remember being super mad about that movie and being like, really? Like, you guys are going to do this instead of just giving it back to the people that actually want to do something with it, you know? But
Oh yeah.
here we are.
You know why?
Money.
Because of money. Money.
It makes me sad.
I mean, money makes the world go round. So yeah.
Oh,
Moving on. Go.
last
what were
question.
you-
I'm
what-
sorry. I just thought of something else. Superman is releasing next month.
This is
Before.
Marvel. This is Marvel, sir.
I
We don't talk
understand.
about DC.
I understand. But Superman is releasing before Fantastic Four next month. It is James Gunn. It's got two big actors in it. At least nerdy big
who are
actors.
the big actors? Who are the big actors?
Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk are both in it. At least they're important
Okay.
to me.
But they're not. But they're not the main characters. I don't think
They're
they're,
not
gonna
the
be
main characters, no. But they're in
Anyways,
the movie.
what's your question about this movie?
Do you think that Superman is going to do better in the box office than Fantastic Four?
I
do you think the
100%.
opposite?
I 100% think that Superman's going to do better
Really?
for several reasons. One, Fantastic Four just has done so bad in the past. Yes, Disney's doing it, MCU's doing it. Yes. But it just had such a bad rap in the past that I think that people still have that disdain for the Fantastic Four. So it's kind of like I think at first people are going to be hesitant to go see the movie. But then Superman, dude, everybody loves Superman. I don't know. Yes. Yes, they do. Don't act like you didn't like Man of Steel.
I actually thought Man of Steel was just an okay movie.
No, Superman is freaking amazing. I love Superman. BT dubs, just because we're talking about this, in the DC universe, Superman is my favorite character. BT dubs. I personally think he's way better than Batman.
Oh man, that is
Controversial discussion here. I fully believe Superman's way better than Batman. Batman's always all broody and Superman's like, I mean, Superman can be dark and he can be broody, but typically he's like, I don't care what you think of me, I'm Superman.
wow. Between the
Watch
two
me.
of the heroes' finest in DC, I'm definitely more of a Batman fan.
I'm sure you are.
I don't like Superman like at all.
Anyways, to get back to Marvel Champions here. What do you think? Share in the comments if you don't like my opinion. It's okay if you don't like my opinion, but
That's
tell
right.
us in the
Yeah,
comments.
leave a 5-star review, or send
Of
us an
how-
email.
of how bad you hate my opinion.
That's right. You can email us and let us know. And if you are staunch enough, Mr. Lewis will build you a deck on Marvel CDB and send it to you. That's all.
What's that email, Jason?
The email is sidekickedamcp@gmail.com. The AMCP stands for a Marvel Champions Podcast. Again, that is sidekickedamcp@gmail.com.
Sidekicked. Anyways, so to get back into what we're talking about today, we are talking about, if you've read the title of this episode, Multiple Man. If you don't know who Multiple Man is, he's in Marvel. He's a character.
Is he that weird guy that appeared that one time in that one place over yonder in that other place over there?
You mean in all the movies, he's in probably the worst X-Men movie possible? Yeah.
He's in The Last Stand, right?
He's in The Last Stand. I'm glad you knew what I meant.
As a villain, right?
Yeah, he's not a hero. He joins forces with Magneto. He's on he's one of Magneto's big people, and he's not like a huge. Anyways, let's okay. So anyways, so yeah, we're gonna talk about Multiple Man today. So yeah, so he's got some interesting powers. So Multiple Man is not a normal mutant because most mutants gain their abilities whenever they reach puberty or at somewhere right before puberty or during puberty. This is not what happened to Jamie. His name is Jamie Madrox, by the way, aka Multiple Man. But this is not what happened to Jamie. When his mother gave birth to him, the doctor slapped him to make him cry, and in doing so, Jamie multiplied into 2 babies. He was born in Los Alamos, New Mexico, which was where the first atomic bomb was built and designed and tested. And because of the radiation from that, when his mother was pregnant with him and exposed to that, that's what gave Jamie Madrox his powers. So what he can do is he can make a perfect copy of himself called a dupe. And when he does that, each one have the same clothes and even weapons that Jamie has whenever he changes. And so Jamie, whenever he does multiply, the real Jamie is called Jamie Prime. So each dupe gains its own self-awareness, but Jamie Prime can control them telepathically, but not always. Because of this, he can absorb each dupe as easily as creating them. So typically they want to be absorbed back, and when doing so, he gains their memories. So he creates the he creates the dupes from absorbing kinetic energy. So what that means is basically anytime he takes any kind of like a hit, anytime he takes any kind of an impact, no matter how big or small, he can create a dupe. So usually whenever he does it, he'll just snap his fingers. That's why whenever he was a baby, he created a dupe because he was slapped. That's why because it took that kinetic energy. But this also explains, And so each dupe has the same abilities that he has. So each dupe can make more dupes. So everything that he can do, they can do. He can feel when a dupe is injured or dying, but it will not kill Jamie. He also can heal by absorbing dupes. So if he gets hurt, he can absorb a dupe, and it helps him a little bit. From time to time, even though Jamie should be able to completely control the dupes, there have been times when dupes have rebelled against him maliciously to stay independent. Because he gained his powers at birth, he is also known as a kill crop. So he's not considered. He is technically a mutant. He is with the in the mutant zone area. But because he was born with his powers, but because he was
Get in the zone. Mutant zone.
Get in the zone. Mutant zone. Because of that, he's not considered he is a mutant, but he's not entirely a mutant. He's known as one of the terms that he is called is a kill crop. And I can't remember who deems him that. Somebody deems him that because somebody else is that too, where it's something that was called that, which was what something was called that cursed harvests, that would curse a harvest in olden times. That's what they would call something like that. It was a kill crop. It would kill the crops. He was born in 1953 and originally could not control his abilities to multiply, so his father designed a suit that could absorb any kinetic energy. And of course, eventually it wore down, and so it was useless. So he sought out Professor X, and Professor X actually sent him to Muir Island with Moira McTaggart, and she helps him. And so he learns how to control his duping abilities. So
it's interesting. This is the second character you've mentioned that has gone to Moira McTaggart recently.
Yeah, so I didn't know. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know. I knew very little about Multiple Man before reading about him. I never read him in the comics. The only thing that I fully knew about him is I knew that he was the dude from X-Men Last Stand.
Oh man, so there's a lot more to him than that.
Yeah, there's a lot. More.
But it's just interesting that you did Legion. I think was the last character that you ran.
Yeah, that was the last character that I talked about. Yeah,
and Moira McTaggart was a key part to that as well. And I think it's just interesting that she seems to be popping up more in the stories than not.
Yeah, so one of the first people he fights is a character called Polaris, which I didn't read that much about Polaris, but Polaris is an on again, off again girlfriend of Havoc's, and so I don't know what her powers are, but she hijacks. Oh, go ahead. Tell me.
She's actually akin to Magneto. She also uses magnetic powers.
Well, according to what I read, this is what I read, is that she hijacks one of his dupes. So I'm like, I don't know how, but it didn't say how. What I read, it didn't say how. It didn't say anything about her powers or anything. It just said she hijacks his dupes, but so he fights her, and then he gains that dupe back.
She must have kidnapped it or something.
Something, yeah. After this is resolved, he is invited to join the X-Men, but he declines. He then is controlled by the Shadow King, which we talked about in the Legion episode also. When the Shadow King,
this guy's coming back. All these characters return over
this is crazy. Yeah, it's almost like they like to reuse the same characters.
Wow, that's wild. Why would you do that? Make up new characters.
Yeah, just make up all new characters and origins.
That's it.
So when the Shadow King is defeated, he joins X Factor. At least, well, from what I read, it wasn't the original X Factor. It was the second, like when they remade the X Factor.
I'm not part of X Factor Prime. I'm the second edition X Factor.
Yeah, he duplicates. He duplicates with this team, and a dupe is shot and killed while he's fighting with this team. And so when that dupe is killed, he learns that he cannot absorb a deceased dupe. During one of his battles, the only way he can defeat someone. So this was the most interesting thing I read. This kind of shows his abilities. So during one of his battles with the X Factor, the only way he can defeat an enemy is by punching them in their mouth. And while his fist is literally in their mouth, from his hand, he creates a dupe inside of that person's mouth, and it makes them explode. Which that was one of the acolytes.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Like they're fighting the acolyte and can't defeat him. And it just gets to that point where he just like explodes him. He does get infected by the legacy virus. Jason, do you know what the legacy virus is?
I think it attacks the mutant gene, but I don't remember specifically anything else about it.
So, I have no idea what it is. I just know at one point he gets infected by the legacy virus. Because of it, he slowly dies. Because of it, but we learn that Jamie Prime did not die, that it was a dupe. The whole time it was just a dupe, one of his dupes. It was not Jamie. Jamie was never infected, but he was somewhere else and he was suffering from amnesia at the time. So that was kind of interesting. Much later, he leaves the X Factor team to become a private detective in what is known as the Mutant Town of New York. And when he does this, he sends out dupes to live their own lives. At this point, he's kind of living peacefully. I mean, yeah, he's solving crimes and doing stuff like that, but for some reason, it does. What I read, it didn't really explain this very well, but for some reason, he decides to send out some dupes to live their own lives. So one dupe ends up becoming a Shaolin monk, and another becomes an Olympic gymnast, like things like that. The dupes were living, like I said, they're living their own lives because of that. So Jamie's abilities at this point are so vast that when a dupe gains skills like these, they can pass them back to Jamie telepathically. However, the long time gone without absorbing them, he starts to gain their individual personality traits also.
Jeez.
So it gives him, and I'm gonna try and pronounce this properly. Dissociative identity disorder. I think that's how you pronounce that.
Okay.
So yeah. So multiple man. Go ahead.
We need Earth Twister back to explain what that is.
We do. I was gonna say like Earth Twister needs to explain this more. Yeah, he's got that psychology degree. He'll probably say something in the comments. Yeah, Multiple Man first appeared in Giant Size Fantastic Four. Funny enough, episode number 4 in 1975. Originally, he was simply a minor character or a background character. It wasn't until the 90s that he started to play a major role in the X Factor series. He even had his own comic mini-series called Mandrox, which his name is Jamie Madrox. And like the title, like I said, is called Madrox, but it's M-A-D, capital M-A-D-R-O, capital X, Madrox. That was in 2004. In 2018, he had another solo series called Multiple Man. He has appeared on several of the X-Men animated shows, including X-Men, the animated series, X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, and had a non-speaking cameo in X-Men 97. He was in the movie X-Men The Last Stand, which we've already talked about. He was supposed to get his own... You probably didn't know this, but I read this. Whenever they made X-Men Origins Wolverine, they were going to come out with a bunch... They're like, hey, we're going to do a bunch of origin movies. One of them is going to be about Wolverine. Yeah, one of them was going to be about Multiple Man that they had planned, and James Franco was supposedly going to play Multiple Man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then whenever that movie didn't do all that well, they scrapped all those.
Of course.
Yeah. Is there anything? So that's the end of my notes. Is there
Yeah.
anything specific that you would like to add to that, Jason?
Honestly, Multiple Man is not a hero I know much about. In fact, like I did a lot of the core X-Men heroes, but I never really diverted too much into like the offshoot X-Men teams. So I don't know a lot about them. The only thing that I happened to read, and I can't remember why I was reading it, whether I have the comic myself, or if a buddy of mine was like, "You have to know more about Multiple Man," and sent me a graphic novel in which I had to catch up on a couple of things. Either way, I remember reading a series, and I think it was an X Factor series where Multiple Man was they're looking to stop a villain, and somebody was able to open up like time portals to possible futures. And they were looking for a way to defeat this villain, but they had to go into these different possible futures. So he sent a bunch of his dupes into these possible futures to find out what's going on in those worlds, and then send them back to him so he could copy that information and share. Like, this is how you beat so and so. And there was one possible future. I don't know. I remember them all dying, or one of them managed to come back. But when he came back and he absorbed the dupe had one of those M's, the mutant M's that go over the eyes.
Yeah.
And when he absorbed that dupe, it gave Jimmy Prime that M over his eye. That is now, I think, still with Jimmy Prime at this point. I just thought that was an interesting. That's the only thing I really remember from that. I don't know who they were facing. I remember there being some sort of other X Factor character that at the time I thought was super cool, that like jumped into that same timeline with that one dupe because she was trying to be helpful. Don't remember who that character is. I remember she's blonde, and I remember her being young, and the rest of the X Factor team was pretty upset that she went and did that. But I don't remember much about that else. So just the M over Jimmy Madrox's eyes, and yeah.
When I was researching this, I did see an image of that, of him having that. So I was like, okay, so he encountered some like anti-mutant people.
But it was from a different alternate timeline, or from a potential future.
Right.
Something to that effect, but that same kind of M that Bishop
probably
has.
Yeah, I was about to say probably like Bishop. So, which makes sense because doesn't Bishop have that too?
He does.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I think it's I don't know. Bishop's another
whole
cable
different
man with all the time travel. It's ridiculous.
It's all wild. So what kind of a deck would you put this in?
I've actually used Multiple Man several times. If you do not know, Multiple Man came in the Quicksilver Hero Pack.
Oh.
So if you still have access to the Quicksilver Hero Pack, this is a fun one to get him in. I have played Multiple Man in several decks and have come to really enjoy him because, well, do we want to talk about what his card looks like and what he does?
Yeah, would you like to describe his card?
Sure.
Or would you like me to, since I actually have it right here?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so Multiple Man is a protection card, so it is a green card. He is a 4 cost. His title, like at the top, it says Multiple Man, Jamie Madrox. He is a 1 cost. He's a 4 cost, but he's a 1 thwart and 1 attack with 1 consequential on each one. He is X Factor. And his text box, it says response after multiple man enters play, search your deck and hand for a copy of Multiple Man and put it into play. Shuffle your deck if it was searched this way. So whenever you get Multiple Man, you get 3 copies of him. And so if you have all 3 in your deck, whenever you play 1, you get all 3. So it's pretty neat. His artwork is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 different Multiple Mans hanging out. They're all doing different things. One of them has headphones, leaning back in a chair in the very front. Another one, it looks like he's eating some popcorn or something. There's one eating something else. One's reading a newspaper. There's one in the very far back. You can't see what he's doing because he's kind of blacked out like a shadow. And then there's one that's behind everybody else that you can barely clearly see. He's wearing a green shirt with some yellow kind of polka dots on it and regular pants. And they all look very similar because they're dupes.
Yep. So yeah.
So yeah.
Well, what
so,
the resource? What
so
resource
with the
is
question,
on this card?
resource. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
the
a
resource on this card.
he's a mental or genius resource.
All right.
So what kind of a deck would you play this in? To get back to my original question.
I've played him in 3 different decks. And probably a few others beyond that, just testing him out as a ally. The first one I built a Storm Protection deck when I first got Storm, and that's the one we used through Riser Red Skull. And the premise behind it was an idea that I kind of tried to steal from Villain Theory at the time, and it worked out pretty well. Though I don't think I built his exact deck because I didn't have all the cards, but I built something similar. But the premise was getting multiple man out there to serve as like protection for the rest of the party, while Storm was able to set up different weather patterns to help support the party as well. So it's more of a support deck versus a I'm Storm and I'm going to do this big damage deck. It was the first time I played something a little bit different than just straight up I'm going to hit hard and fast. So the premise there is just you get multiple man out, and then you get his other 2 dupes out, and you just kind of use them to defend. So usually I would get them out, they would remove 3 threat right off the bat, boom, 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 and then they would just sit there until somebody needed an ally to protect them.
Oh, and they
Which
do
worked out
have
pretty well.
I forgot to say this. They do have 2 HP on them.
Yes, so you use 1 consequential damage to remove threat or attack, ping a damage or remove 1 threat, and then you can save them for defense.
Yeah, as long as there's not overkill.
The second deck, and I really enjoyed this. I don't know if I ever shared this deck with you, but it was with... to be honest, I got it from Nelson All Over Cards. He put them in a Wasp deck, and Wasp has the ability to cycle mental resource cards back into her deck. And so I used them for the same kind of feature where they would just basically be chump blockers so that she could focus on doing big hits.
That's super cool.
And then you would flip her back down so she would shoot them back into your deck. And so they were a constant rotation back into play. It was a lot of fun.
That is super cool, dude.
It was one of those decks that I think Nelson even said when he played it with multiple people that he just never flipped up, that he would just stay down and keep cycling these guys back into the decks there. And there were certain cards that he used that would let him help remove threat or do something from down below, from Alter Ego. So that was a lot of fun. The last deck I really used multiple man in
Down Under
was recently, and I think I put him into, I can't remember if that was the card I chose for Cyclops when we could choose a different aspect. I have to go back and look, but there's a point in the Sinister Motives campaign when you can choose something outside of your aspect and put it into your deck, and you put all copies of it into your deck. And so I think I chose multiple man because he has that X factor, and I was already playing Children of the Atom and Cyclops. And so trying to use him to kind of help ready Cyclops back up, or ready Magneto back up, or all these different things along the way, because you're playing Magneto in that campaign. So
right.
I think that's the 3 times I've used him. So have I used him quite a bit? I think mostly I use him for that quick chump block. He just kind of serves as a protection for my person while they're either setting up their control deck or they are there to just kind of help protect the table for a round.
So I haven't played him too much because normally I don't play protection. I'm not saying I hate protection or anything. It's just not an aspect I typically play. But whenever I do, I do know that I have put multiple man into at least one of my decks before. And so I have played it, but I do know that you, Jason, I first saw multiple man with you and I was like, oh, that's so freaking cool. I didn't have Quicksilver yet. So I was like, man, that's super cool. I need to get Quicksilver just for this. And I was like, man, that multiple man's very handy. And so, yeah, I was
Use
like,
4
it's
cost,
very, very cool. Yeah.
3 chump blockers
3 of them.
out,
Yeah, you're
so.
getting 3. You're not getting just one. Most protection decks it makes sense to put them in.
Absolutely. No, I don't know if most is a strong word, but I think in a good portion
Most.
of them.
All of them. No, I'm gonna go all out and say all of them have to have multiple man. If you don't have multiple man in your protection deck, is it really a protection deck?
Man, it depends on what kind of protection deck you're playing. There's
No.
so many avenues, and even then, like
No.
my change of fortune decks tend to lean more to an aggression format, to a attack format, than they do a protecting format.
But do you have multiple man in those decks?
Change of fortune? No.
Yeah. Then it's not a real protection deck. I'm saying it right here. I don't mind being controversial.
Flood the comments in, ladies and gentlemen. Help Levi Lewis understand.
It's not real protection.
But yeah. So do I play him? Absolutely. I think he's a lot of fun. I think as a character, if we're going to talk about it, and something enjoyable to play, definitely. Multiple Man is a lot of fun to get onto the table because you know you're getting 2 more allies out. And it's just exciting to see. When I first saw him, I was like, oh, he's a 1/1. But then his powers, I was like, oh,
Right.
like you're getting several out. And
Yeah.
as a new player, it took me a while to kind of get to that point. But
You have
it
to
was really
take
neat.
you have to take all of it into consideration. Like, is the forecast with his abilities worth it? And I say he's fully worth it.
110%.
Gave it 110%. We just went out there and gave 110%.
That's what the dupes do. So he's really enjoyable to play. Do you feel like his powers match what he does in the comics?
I think he does. You talk about in the game?
Yeah, it's like if the card matches what he does in the comics.
I think it does. I think it does it very well. It makes sense that they did it this way. I think it's the first time I saw it, I was like, man, that first off, that makes sense. I knew who he was. Obviously, I didn't know like how cool he really was, but I knew who he was because I knew like what he did. I know at this point, I've figured out at this point that Marvel Champions, when they make allies and stuff, they don't just make anything up. They actually draw from the source material.
Which
And
is
so,
good.
yeah, which is very good. And there is a lot to draw from. And in saying that, like originally I thought like there were some allies that I was like, I think they're just making some of these up, but they're not. And so multiple man, I knew he was not like something that I thought that originally. I was like, I know this is a guy in the comics, and yeah, he multiplies. That's kind of his thing. And so he does that in the game, and it's a cool. It's. I just like how different it is. It's very unique.
I would love to see a version of it that's similar and maybe in a different aspect too, where he comes out.
Where he's like Justice or something.
Justice or something, yeah, where he'll come out and do the same kind of thing where you put 3 of them out. However, there's been times where I've played him with some other allies and been like, well, I've got these 2 other allies on the table already. If I put him out, he's not going to be able to put his 2 other allies out. So I either need to kill these other 2 allies off or finding a way to navigate that
Right.
factor there. And I'm kind of curious if maybe they could have done something to the effect of
It
if
does
you
not
attempt to
count
play
against. Go ahead.
not count against, but if you attempt to play a multiple man and there's no more room for him on the table, then you stack him behind another multiple man card, and add his attack and thwart to.
And no. The way here, I love that. I like that idea.
You see what I'm kind of like the absorbing factor
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, right. The way I see it is like if you already have an ally out, and you want to put multiple men out there, and you could put all 3 out, but you can only put 2 out. You put all 3 cards out. You put one behind the other. When that other ally goes away, you bring the other one out. Would that make sense? Does that make sense?
Oh, so it like you just kind of set them aside, and when one dies, you put it in.
Right.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. That's a good way to do it. I hadn't thought of it that way. So it's kind of like that. Oh, just kidding. It was just a dupe. Sucks to be you.
Fantasy Flight. You could hire me.
I think it's
Anyways.
interesting.
No,
That's a
so
good concept.
So here's a question. Here's a question. I think this is a question that we need to start asking actually, because I know we talked about it. I know we talked about it in the last episode that came out, which is not going to be the last episode after this week comes out. But in what is it? When we talked about
The Legion
Legion,
episode.
Legion episode, and this is what I want to ask you: do you think multiple man should be a hero pack, or could be?
I think so. I think he's got a lot of history in the comics that we could definitely see him be a strong contender for a hero pack.
Okay, how do you think that would work?
Here's how this would work. Okay. So he's going to have his alter ego in his hero pack, right?
Right.
He's going to have cards in his deck that are going to be called dupes
Yeah.
that look like him. And I think they're going to be allies. He's going to have, just like Iceman, Iceman's got 2. He's going to have 2 or 3 of these dupes.
But it wouldn't. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
You can spend a fist resource to pull them out.
So
in his hero side.
I think because he is multiple man, this is what he does. I think it wouldn't cost. It shouldn't cost him anything to pull them out. His dupes.
Well, it costs him kinetic energy, right?
Yeah, but how does he do kinetic energy? He just snaps his fingers. So like here with that he could, if he had multiple dupes in his hand at once, he could only play one at a time. Or well, not
So
he
that's
could only play
different to me.
not that he could only play one at a time, but he could his ability, like his text box would be, you can play one without paying for it. And the other ones you could pay for it. Does that make sense?
Yes. I was saying more like you spend a fist resource to find it in your deck.
Oh.
And then you pay the cost to play him down. Does that make sense? Kind of like
Yeah, but
Hawkeye has to spend a resource to find his bow. Captain America has to spend a resource to find his shield.
Right, but these are things. But this is already on him. Like this is something he just does. Like he doesn't have to find it; it's in him, right?
Right, but
like
if
Wolverine,
it's in your deck.
like yeah, but like Wolverine's claws, it shouldn't has to cost him anything to get it.
That's fair. What if it's after he makes a basic attack, you can pull one of the set aside dupes. So like the frostbites from Iceman, pull one of the set aside dupes and put it into play.
Or just a basic ability.
I feel like you're just gonna get the problem that they're gonna run into is a power issue if you can just put in allies for free. That's where they're gonna run into some issues. So there's got to be something to have a cost for a reason for these allies into play.
It's gotta have something to it, yeah.
If you have it for free where you're constantly just putting in free allies, you're gonna never take any damage.
Not
Unless there's something
necessarily.
to the effect of like any attack against your dupe gives you overkill. You know?
That's fair.
Like there's gotta be some sort of cost.
Yeah, he can't be, and you're right, it can't be like perfect. Like he can't, yeah.
That's the part that I'm trying to get to. Is there's got to be a cost to the effect of getting your minions out there.
That is fair.
Not minions, your allies.
That is fair.
I think that's probably part of the thing that they're running into. That's why Multiple Man himself, if you look at his card, he costs 4 because you're getting 3 allies out.
Oh yeah, like that's well worth the cost. Like when you understand what's happening, it makes sense that he costs 4.
So that's why the hero pack's got to have some sort of cost there. Then you're going to dive into some other things about his leadership ability from X Factor. I think you dive into something to the effect of him learning new things and being able to do like thwarting because he's learned something new, or some sort of like preparation card he has because his dupes have traveled to the future. He's learned new information, so he's able to like prevent a certain amount of threat being put on the scheme. I think there's just a lot of cool options you can dive into that as well. I have to read more of his comics, but the X Factor trait, and then just giving him Children of the Atom to connect with the rest of the X-Men. What aspect do you think he would come in?
Like what his precon would be?
Yeah.
You know, just because he multiplies and everything, I would say leadership.
Interesting. That would make sense. Because he's also a leader of the X Factor team for a while, too.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
Use some of his detective skills and stuff, too. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, leadership makes perfect sense. Because otherwise it would be that protection aspect, just to kind of keep it with the ally that came out. But I can see leadership for sure.
Okay. So I think we're at this point, Jason. I think we finally reached this area of our episode. How would you rate Multiple Man?
I would say a 4.5 out of 5 stars on a Yelp review.
Is that your highest rated card so
Probably.
far?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the reason being, the review would say something to the effect of, is quite helpful. In fact, can clone himself to do multiple things for you around the office. Effective in completing any task presented to him. And I think so. Like he's done such a good job of just 4.5. It makes sense to me. He comes out. He's fun to play. There's no reason why you wouldn't enjoy playing him. He does what he set out to do, which is protect the table. He also comes in and he's even able to give you a small benefit of either pinging off some toughs that you need pinged off, or he can clear a little bit of threat that's needed clearing off. What about you? What animal are we giving Multiple Man today?
So I put a lot of thought into this. And
it's a rabbit, right? He multiplies like rabbits?
No.
Oh.
This is actually probably going to be, I didn't even think about a rabbit. But this is probably going to be a little bit controversial because of what I'm about to talk about. So I would rate Multiple Man as a lemming. Do you know what a lemming is?
I do not.
It's a little rodent that is believed that once a year they all like to just go and run and jump off a cliff and just all die. But that's not true. That's actually false. The reason why this is believed is because back in like the 50s or 60s, maybe even the 40s, I can't remember, Disney, of all people, Disney made a documentary about animals, and in it, they showed lemmings doing this. Have you heard about this?
No.
This is a real thing. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. They made a documentary about this, and they showed lemmings doing a bunch of stuff like this. But Disney literally faked it. Like everything else in the documentary is like, right, it's true. But then for some like wild reason, they're like, lemmings have to do this. And they did this. Like they themselves did this to the lemmings. Okay, so because of this, there's like this. Off. Yeah, they like threw them off cliffs and stuff. Not even. I'm not making this up.
What must have bit them while they were recording?
I don't know.
Like, screw this.
I don't know. I think that was around the time that the LSD drug trials were happening, and I think that's what happened.
Huh.
But because of that, it's a dupe. It's not true. It's a dupe. And so that's why I rate Multiple Man as this. He's actually not as insane as people might think he is. He's not. I mean, I don't think he's crazy, but it's a dupe. It's not real. That never happened.
That makes sense.
And so yeah, I think he's great. I love him. I think when I know that I have played Multiple Man. I can't remember what decks I have played him in, but he's very fun. He does exactly what he's supposed to. He, like you said, he is very good at taking and blocking for you because he has multiples. I think he's exactly what he's supposed to be like in the comics. I think he plays wonderful. I think he's awesome. He is a very cool card. And yeah, like you introduced me to him, and as soon as I saw him, I was like, I need to get Quicksilver for Multiple Man. I haven't even. I know you have. I have not played Quicksilver.
Oh, Quicksilver's a lot of fun, but that's
Yeah.
a different story for another time.
But yeah, that's a whole different episode. But yeah, multiple but I got that specifically for Multiple Man. I was like, ooh, this looks cool.
Awesome. Well, I think that's what we need to conclude this episode. So, thank you, man.
Yeah, this was fun. Please remember to like and subscribe to our podcast and channel if you haven't already. This has been Sidekicked, a Marvel Champions podcast. I'm Levi Lewis.
And I'm Jason Sketch. Next time I'll be deadly serious next time.
And watch out for those wombats out there. So when you said pinging, I thought you had said peeing.
Nope.
He's peeing off some stuff. I was like, whoa, buddy.
I mean,
Whoa.
that's one way to clear it tough, I guess. There might be a dupe that'll do that. Could you imagine Thanos? You can't hurt me. I'm inedible. What are you doing? I had to go, man. You were taking too long in your big speech. That's one way to clear it tough. Oh, man. Yeah. There you have it, folks. That's how Multiple Man does it. When he pings off a damage, he just... Anyways.